Welcome back, viewers. This is a follow-on video now to our last video where we spoke about setting up a business and getting going and about your business journey. The first step is obviously deciding how you want to trade, and this next video will look at a couple of things you also need to consider before you step out and actually start your journey, or maybe you're already in your journey, and these points will also be relevant to you. So what we're going to focus on in this video is the relationships in your business and in your business journey, and there are a number of key relationships which will unfold during your business life cycle. So the relationships we're going to touch on are your relationships with your fellow business partners, shareholders, as well as the relationships that you will have with suppliers, customers and staff, and some of the key things that you should be aware of and be thinking about and how you want to approach these. So the first one we're going to start with is the relationship amongst yourselves as business partners. I'm sure most of you are aware, hopefully you do have a shareholder agreement in place and an MOI, it's called a Memorandum of Incorporation. But these are vital documents you need to have in a business. These are effectively, and not to try and talk negatively, but these are your divorce agreements. You want these agreements in place. You want to be putting them in place when you guys are all talking and you're happy and you can agree on terms. We all know when you're disagreeing with somebody and then you're trying to agree rules of engagement, this is not the place that you want to find yourself. So the first relationship you want to make sure that you've taken care of is that of yourselves as partners, and you need to do this by having a shareholder agreement and MOI in place. These are agreements that we have extensive experience with, not purely because we've drafted them or prepared them for clients, but more so because we've been business partners in other businesses. We know the types of challenges that come into that relationship, and we can definitely advise you and give you practical first-hand experience and things to consider, as opposed to just looking at what potentially the legal aspects are. The next relationship, and maybe to some of you, you'll wonder why I'm starting with suppliers and not customers, but I do believe customers are obviously important. But suppliers, especially when you're starting your business journey, are going to be vital to you. You are going to need their support to be able to get yourself out of the gate. You are going to have challenges with cash flow, and your suppliers are going to be key. If you cannot get supply, you are not going to have a product that you can sell and or manufacture. But equally, if you're in the service industry, if things start getting a little bit tight, you will have landlords, etc., that you are going to need some help from. When it comes to your suppliers, things to watch out for and that they are going to ask you for: suretyship. It's a big thing, you holding yourself personally liable. Also, what are your terms going to be? It's normally not common that suppliers will give you terms immediately when you start out, but you need to consider these sort of things. What terms are you going to get from your suppliers? How quickly are you going to need to settle them? And then what are your plans around being able to settle them? The next key relationship is obviously with your customers. Obviously, we're all aware of this, very big focus, looking after your customers, giving them the service. But again, in the background, do you have credit application forms? What are your terms? How have you decided what terms you are going to extend to customers? These are things that you need to consider and you need to work through and have in place. Also, just a couple of simple things, not to touch too much on tax details, but when you're getting set up with suppliers and or you are setting customers up, there are a couple of requirements you need to make sure you take care of so that you don't have VAT challenges down the line, such as addresses on invoices, your VAT number. So just small little things to make sure that you watch out for, so that you don't end up with some other administrative challenges later on in your business. And then the last relationship, and obviously a vital relationship to look at, is staff. Things you're going to want that you need to be considering, and that we can definitely provide help with, is how do you motivate and incentivize your staff? It's not just about getting people in and paying them a salary. When it comes to salary and when it comes to staff doing their day jobs, do you have your contracts in place? What are your working hours? What leave do staff get, etc.? You need to make sure that your relationship with your staff is documented and backed up by agreements, so that if things aren't going according to plan for both of you, you can sit down and have a discussion saying, this is what we agreed you're going to do. how you're going to do it. It's not being done. How do you fix it? So staff is obviously a vital point. Where we are often approached is how do you incentivize, motivate staff? Do you give shares? Do you give equity to staff? My feedback to you on this is each case is different. It goes on a case-by-case basis, but necessarily motivating people with equity doesn't always work for the people as much as you as a business owner might think it's what they want. They could just be motivated and driven by financial reward. I think senior members of your team as well as your staff in general, they always want to feel appreciated, and you're going to need to put something in place in terms of how can you incentivize and or motivate them. In terms of all the relationships in your business, we have extensive experience dealing with everything that I've just spoken to you. Once again, just to highlight the point, it doesn't come from the experiences that we've gained with clients. We are involved in businesses. We've had personal experience in setting these things up, and we can bring all of that advice and experience to the table in helping you deal with the key relationships that you're going to need in your business. So if you want to maybe reach out to us and explore this a bit more, our contact details are available to you on our website. Give us a shout, and why don't you come through and have a chat with us on this.